Exactly how productive, fruit-bearing, and important is your prayer life? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day 2 of the Torah portion, Lecha. We're continuing now in the book of Bereshit, or Genesis, chapter number 12. And it says there in verse 7 and 8, And Yahweh appeared to Avram and said, To your seed I give this land. And he built there a slaughter place, an altar, to Yahweh who had appeared to him. And from there he moved to the mountain east of Bethel, and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built a slaughter place to Yahweh and called on the name of Yodeh-Vaveh, Yahweh. So Yeshua asked the question, and this is the question that we're going to be answering throughout this week. He says, if Abraham is your father, if you are Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. And the implied question here is, where is the evidence of your lineage? Is that lineage claim only that of a bloodline, or can you also demonstrate that you're bearing the same fruit and doing the same works that Abraham did? Is there a family identity through obedience? The point I'm making today, as we read here that he built a slaughter place to Yah, and then he moves to the mountain east of Bethel, it says two things that he did. Number one, he pitched his tent, that is, he set up his family's abode, and then he also built an altar. Here's my point. Abraham demonstrated the work of pitching tents, but building altars. The understanding is that that which is temporary is a pitched tent. He's not settling down at one spot. Now, there's nothing wrong with building your house and establishing a location. But he understood that this life is transitional. It's transitory. You move through life. But the place of importance is that which you build, that which is more firmly established. And for him, that's an altar. By application, then, one's prayer life has more permanence than the life that we live in our dwelling place. You might think, well, my home is my home. It's where I live. Laura and I have lived in this particular house that I'm in right now for 25 years. Our anticipation is that we will live out the remainder of our lives here unless Yah just suddenly interrupts our plans. There's no plan to move. But there's something that has more permanence than my physical dwelling place, and that is my prayer life. We failed to understand the importance of what it means to go before the Father in prayer, because prayer, in our estimation, is that which is usually answered in a short duration of time. We pray for the meeting of a particular need, and the need has to be met by a certain deadline. We pray for someone's healing, and we expect and anticipate it within a certain period of time in their lifetime. We pray for revival, and that seems like revival will tarry and not appear, but we anticipate it's going to show up at any given time. Abraham's prayers are those that were prayed that we are still the recipients of the benefits and blessings from even to this day. Abraham is the one who walked with Yah in such manner as that he received an ongoing and indeed an eternal, everlasting covenant. The appearance of Yeshua as the Messiah, the promise of the kingdom, the giving of the Torah, Israel going down to Mitzrayim or to Egypt and living there for generations and coming out, going through the wilderness, entering in again to the land of the forefathers of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. All of that is predicated upon this man's particular walk before Yah. We may ask ourselves, am I doing anything important? Am I making a splash? Am I doing anything of significance? Abraham didn't have a house, never owned an automobile. We don't know that he had a closet full of clothes. He had servants and flocks and herds and responsibilities and servants. I'm sure that he had coinage and money, but that wasn't the significance of his life. His life's work was his relationship with the Creator in such fashion that Yah gave to him eternal standing, gave to him righteousness through belief, demonstrated through him what can happen when someone is bold enough to step out in their belief and do something radical, getting away from that which has always held us back to move into that which Yah has yearned and desired for us all along. There's a mouthful. So this man's prayer life is what is significant. Whether we understand it at this point or not, we are also the beneficiaries of the prayers of many generations before us. For those that have had the blessing and benefit of praying grandparents or great-grandparents for that matter, a mom or dad or someone maybe not even related to you, nevertheless that knew you and saw something in you and prayed for that something to come to the surface and become realized. We are the benefits of those prayers. It could have been just the general idea that there are in previous generations those that cried out for renewal, for outpouring in this nation, for a change of heart among the young, for a sweeping of the Spirit to come in and to lead the rebellious young folks into a place of encountering the Messiah. We are the beneficiaries of those that fought wars before us and secured our liberty and freedoms in many instances. So much has been done before us, and we think, well, it's all because I get up and go to work, do my job, keep my nose clean, and worship every week. That's why I'm blessed as I am. There's those that we have no idea have impacted us. And here's the question. How much prayer are we offering? And I'm not trying to be condemning here. I'm trying to be encouraging. I'm trying to admonish. I'm trying to provoke a little bit. How many prayers have we laid up for those of another generation ahead of us? We pray for our children. We pray for our grandchildren. But we need to be even broader in that future generations would come to a saving knowledge of Messiah. We need a prayer for our nation beyond the immediate crucial issues that seem to be raising their heads, whatever they may be. We need to look further down the road and understand that Yah yearns and desires even for the nations to come into the covenant that he has established with Abraham. Abraham pitched a tent. He recognized what was temporary. He knew that as a nomad, he would have to be able to move along and trade one location for the other. But where he had been, there was the permanence of a built altar, a place that signified here, right here was a man who was willing to spend time with the Creator and worship him and call on his name and make an impact. Where we pray, how we pray, those for whom we pray, we place a mark on those locations and peoples and issues by interceding, calling on Yah. And what is intercession? Basically defined, when you pray and when you're making intercessory request of the Most High, you are inviting Yah's involvement and his investment into whatever the issue might be at hand. And Yah yearns to hear that invitation so that he can then move, intervene, invest in that situation, and bring about his kingdom, his purpose, and his will. Pitch your tent, but build your altar. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.